is low, where traits begin to merge and flow. A clandestine and vital speed, a non-human and precious seed. This dangerous inhuman quest to put the face at last to rest. A signified, wild and new, a life the face could not subdue. And hope arising whispered art, a chance to tear the mask apart. To see the face is just a field of lines and colors unconcealed. A swarm of traits we shall become, unsinking from the marching drum. A defacializing act of grace to find the world beyond the face.
I am the form, the architect. I find the chaos, some neglect. I find the smoothie.
Wheels and spinning gears.
I'm paranoid. He wants me to obey his signs I can't resist. It's a power play. If I don't fit the lines his priests have neatly drawn, then I'm the scapegoat, soon cast out and gone. I had to cut the cord. I had to turn away. Betrayal is my act. I could no longer stay. No face in front of me. No mirror carved in stone. The burning bush a point, and I am all alone. It hooks into my flesh, an anchor for the race. I am the subject now. I've lost the despot's face. I am the one. My mission drives me fast, but I am smaller than the shadow that I cast. I'm running on a line, a pure and strict decree, but it begins to curl. It's turning into me, a passion born with a manic spin. The line becomes a tube, and I am falling in. I see betrayal was just a pose. The despot always, always knows. Voice, circle, line still in my head. Subject and signifier. The double knot is fed. It eats my very soul while I am screaming free. The modern face of power is staring back at me. But listen, can you hear the ticking in the gloom? Tick, tick. Outside, the war machine is calculating doom. But I am stuck inside, deep in the black hole zone. If I dare step outside, they'd strip me to the outside the hole, the nomads ride. To step outside, I alone must decide. I must decide. To let the cosmos breach the wall. This accusation, that's the crime. It wounds me every single time. It's not the words, but how you sound. It is what keeps me small and bound.
You speak of wounds and being bound, but that is just your static ground. My movement doesn't stop or wait, it flows right past your static.
Hello, people. We are gonna study symbolic logic. This book, Introduction to Symbolic Logic, Suzanne K. Langer. Suzanne or Suzanne. I also don't know much about this thing. I am also reading it for the first time. And you need logic in philosophy. Or to understand philosophy, you have to have a strong grasp on logic itself. So I have decided to read it, and it will be a weekly reading. Not weekly, daily. Yeah, daily. It will be 7 days a week type of thing. 7 days a week. Yeah, okay. When this book was written, preface to the second edition. When this book was written, there was no systematic textbook of symbolic logic in English except the symbolic logic of Lewis and Langford. Perhaps Coutur's little summary, The Algebra of Logic, could also be regarded as a text. In that set forth a system developed by various persons, notably D. Morgan, Boole, and Schrodier. 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 Okay, I am not pronouncing it right. Making no claim for itself to originality, but that was, after all, an outline rather than an introduction. For the rest, every exposition was still in connection with a contribution. Lewis' survey of symbolic logic had been written mainly to propose the system of strict implication. Russell's raised many questions he did not claim to settle. Queen was almost completely original, and even the most digested work, Lewis and Langford enter into no elementary discussion of the basic logical notions, generalization, abstraction, relation from system. Such fundamental concepts were taken for granted. I was checking the voice, it is coming all right. They have always been taken for granted in the paragon of pure sciences, mathematics. It is the exceptional student of mathematics who know why the symbol plus is classed as an operation and equal to as a relation, or indeed why his exercises are called examples. Okay, I don't understand why the plus sign is there and y equal to is a relation. I am not that, I'm terrible at maths. I have want to improve that. I'm pretty weak at maths actually. I want to improve that. Or indeed why his exercises are called examples. Or who understand even at a fairly advanced stage of technical proficiency just how algebra is related to arithmetic. His training is entirely in technique and their application to problems. Arithmetic, geometry, and algebra are related for him only by the fact that their several techniques may converge only on one and the same problem. That is to say, they are related practically but not intellectually. The mathematics books used in schools dwell almost exclusively on rules of operation. The prestige of mathematics is so great that logic, in emulating its method, tended to follow its pedagogy as well. Okay. The excellent textbook of logic that have appeared during the last 15 years. See the supplementary new listed appended to suggestion for further reading. Tend to similarly to emphasize techniques, transformation, inference, consistency, test, decision procedure without detailed explanation of concepts involved. Now mathematics has such a obvious practical use that to learn its tricks without understanding their significance is not entirely silly, but may the same be said of symbolic logic. Okay. Is the manipulation of its symbols of such practical importance that students should learn to perform logical operations even without knowing or questioning their conceptual foundation? It seems to me that despite its practical uses, which are still coming to light in unexpected quarters, its chief value is conceptual. Through the influence of various positivistic schools of philosophy, which are certainly the most prominent and perhaps the most promising schools today, our scholars and educators are so imbued with methodology that they value the new logic primarily for its codification of the rules of inference, but that is only one of its contributions to human thought and even to science. Method can be overemphasized and tends to do be so in our intellectual life. Symbolic logic as an instrument of exact thought, both analytic and constructive. Its mission, accordingly, is not only to validate scientific method but also to clarify the semantic confusions that beset the popular mind as well. The professional philosopher at the present time, semantics, semantics, blessed word, is in a dire need of responsible analysis and is skillful handling. And symbolic logic is the most effective preparation I can think of for frontal attack on the pathetic muddles of modern philosophical thought. It blasts natural misconception with every move, not by process of debunking, but by purposeful and lucid construction of ideas. Because this book seeks to present in a clear, stepwise fashion the elementary concept of logic, it cannot encompass as much technical material as other textbooks do. Yeah, we need a elementary introduction. We are at least I am pretty stupid. I'm pretty stupid, man. Like I need like beginner shit, and I think I am still not gonna understand it unless I practice it again and again or reread and maybe also watch on other material and understood understood understand this thing through that. Otherwise, I don't think that I am gonna understand it even for a basic. But today, that is not serious embarrassment because it may be supplemented by standard text. One of the most useful devices now generally thought the construction of truth tables to test legitimacy of constructs in a truth value system is included in this edition as appendix C. The reading list for further study has been brought up to date. For the rest, no revisions have been made except to correct errors, especially a major error in chapter 4, which mysteriously escaped the several readers of the script and has necessitated a little actual rewriting. Apart from this detail, the book is unchanged, a book for the student who has no teacher. Yeah, I am that student who has no teacher. Oh man. A book for the teacher who has no teacher, or for the teacher who has to meet too many naive questions for his comfort. Okay. As such, as it is still alone in its class, at least for English readers, and in the belief that there is always a real need for at least one such book, I send my introduction out anew. 1952, July. Yeah, it is a old book, but I think it still does the job. Preface to the first edition. ओके, ये सेकेंड एडिशन का प्रीफेस था और ये फर्स्ट एडिशन का प्रीफेस. ओके. Symbolic logic is relatively new subject and but although my text has no predecessor, it has had at least one inspirer. My debt to Professor Shaper of Harvard is too great to be expressed in any detailed acknowledgement. The underlying ideas of the book, it emphasizes upon system, its progress from the specifics to the general, from general to the abstract. Its whole treatment of logic as a science of forms. All of this is to due to his influence. How many lesser ideas also derive from him? I am unable to say. It is the mark of a great teacher that one cannot render him the things that are his. They become part of. Okay, I agree with this. Yeah, man, like my thought is also so much influenced by nature that I no longer even can differentiate between my thought and nature. Yeah, my thought is heavily nature built. They become a part of one's mentality and ultimately of the intellectual commonwealth. Yeah. To my friend Professor Paul Henley, I wish to express my heartiest thanks for his kindness and patience in reading the entire manuscript, uncovering various errors, and checking all the algebraic formulae. He has suggested many improvements and sometimes found simple or briefer explanation of formal demonstration. I would also thank Dr. Henry S. Leonard for some excellent suggestions and for reading a part of the proof. Okay, study of forms, logical structure, form content, the value of analogy, abstraction, concepts, interpretation, the field of logic, logics of philosophy. Okay. Yeah, chapter 2, relation and elements, terms and degree, proposition, natural language and logical symbolism. Some principle governing symbolic expression, the power of symbols. Chapter 3, the essential of logical structure, continued. Context, concept and conception, formal text, the universe of discourse, constituent relations, truth values, related propositions in formal context, constitute relation and logical relations, seven system, deductive, inductive mix, okay, generalization, regularities of system, variables, values, propositional form, the quantifiers, okay, general proposition, the economy of general population. Okay, I understand it. None of these things. So I think, yeah, I gonna learn a lot. Classes, individuals and classes, membership in class, concept and classes, defining forms of classes and subclasses. इतनी मैंने स्कूल में पढ़ाई कर ली होती तो कितना कहाँ होता मैं. Classes and subclasses, the notion of unit class, the notion of null class, the notion of universe class, identity of class, The uniqueness of I and O. Oh, nah. Chapter 6 Principal Relations among classes. The relation of class inclusion, consequences of definition of greater than. Greater than ही है ना? Maybe we will learn there. Partial inclusion and conjunction of classes, content, joint inclusion or disjunction of classes, the principle of dichotomy A and minus A, the importance of dichotomy, negation, the ubiquity of null class, complements of sum and products, equivalent expression. Oh man, it is a okay. Oh, to say the relation and predicate classes as indispensable construct in a system. Classes as a primitive concept in system, the generalized system of classes, a convenience of symbolism, logical punctuation. Chapter कितना है? 7? नहीं 8, chapter 8. पाई के बाद 3 1 तो chapter 8. The class system as a deductive system, postulates and theorem, truth and validity, postulates for the system of classes K A B greater than a relation of operation or less than. I don't know, man. Operation has primitive notions, postulates for the system. The calculus of classes. I am getting. Oh, it is gonna be a long book and a difficult book, I guess. The calculus of classes, I don't know. The algebra of logic, the meaning of algebra and its relevance to the class calculus, further discussion of postulates, principle of proof, substitution, substitution, application, inference, elementary theorems, tautology, absorption, double negation, association, the duality of plus and multiply, or plus and, yeah, I think it is multiply. And an introduction to symbolic logic, the definition of greater than and inclusion theorems, comparison with postulates for K, A, B, fundamental traits of Boolean algebra. Yeah, this book is gonna be difficult. Algebra, maths, all these are like Achilles heel for me. I really, am really suck at these things because I never, dealt with it. I always ignore maths in school, and now it is coming and haunting me. But I'm gonna improve my maths, logic, or everything will be improved. You know, yeah. Abstraction and interpretation, different degrees of formalization, properties of relation, postulates as formal definition of relation, Boolean algebra, the calculus of classes as formula, other interpretation of the Boolean formula, two-valued algebra, the calculus of proposition, properties of logical relation and operation, the propositional interpretation of Boolean algebra, the propositional calculus as the algebra of values. The notion of material implication, the reflexiveness of propositional calculation, the significance of propositional calculus. Chapter 11 12. The assumption of Principia Mathematica. Okay. Limitation and defects of the propositional algebra, assertion and negation, the calculation of elementary proposition of Principia Mathematica. The most important theorems involving V, I think that is a negation sign, and horseshoe. the definition of conjunction and some important theorems, the definition of equivalence and some important theorems, logistic, the purpose of logistic, the primitive ideas of mathematics, function, assumption for calculation and general proposition, the definition of class and membership, the definition of relation, the structure of Principia Mathematica, the value of logic for science and philosophy. Okay. Appendix A, symbolic logic and the logic of syllogism. Appendix B, proofs of theorem and 1A and 1B. Appendix C, the construction and use of truth tables. Okay. Suggestion for further study. Okay. Now at least we will at least finish this thing. Introduction. The first thing that strikes the student of symbolic logic is that it has developed along several apparently unrelated lines. The symbolic explanation of traditional logic, the invention of various algebras such as the algebra of logic, and with this the study of postulational technique, the derivation of mathematics from set of partially or wholly logical postulates. Yeah, what the fuck a postulates mean? An axiom. Hmm. An axiom, a state that is taken to be true. An axiom, postulate, or assumption is statement that is taken to be true to serve as a premise or starting point for further reasoning and argument. The word comes from the ancient Greek word axioma, meaning that which is thought worthy for it, or that which is command itself as evident. Okay, this self-evident means postulates and axioms, huh? Okay. The investigation of the laws of thought and formal reduction of logical principles themselves. Every worker in the field drifts into one or another of these specialized endeavors to a noise. It is hard to see what are the aims, principle, and procedures of logic per se, and what relation the several branches of bear to it and each other. Okay. Underlying them all is the principle of generality, which culminates in the attainment of abstractions. The several branches of logic are so many studies in generalization. The aims of logical research may vary with interests of different investigators. One may be interested in the validity of Aristotelian logic, another in that of mathematics, a third in the canons of science, a fourth in the relation between mathematics and science or mathematics and classical logic, etc. etc. But the procedure is everywhere is the same. It is progressive systematization and generalization. Likewise, the criteria of success is the same. It is the discovery of abstract forms. The latter interest distinguishes logic from natural science, which is in search of general but not abstract formulae for concrete facts. In order to prepare for the reader, in order to prepare the reader, and further study in any branch of symbolic logic, I have undertaken to discuss the characteristic of logical sciences as such, and show precisely how the branches spring from a parent trunk to lay down the principle of governing all symbolic uses and to introduce him specifically to the most important system of symbolization. To this end, it is necessary for the student to have plenty of exercise in the actual manipulation of symbols. Nothing else can overcome their initial mastery. Okay. Uh, Symbolic logic, like mathematics, is a technique as well as theory and cannot be learned entirely by contemplation. The book is built around two great classic fields of symbolic logic: the Boole Crodier algebra and the logistic masterpiece of Messrs. Whitehead and Russell, Principia Mathematica. Its aim is to prepare the student to understand the thought and procedure of these two very distinct developments of logic and to see the connection between them. Most introduction to symbolic logic treat them without relation to each other. The student who has mastered the algebraic symbolism and postulation method of Foley and show reader and feels reasonably familiar with algebra as a system suddenly finds himself at a new beginning. Confirm. Okay, I am not that student. Okay, I am complete beginner. I don't know. Postulational method of Boolean show reader, reader, Proder suddenly finds him at a new beginning, confronted with entirely new realm of ideation, new symbols, new aims. Pedagog- pedagogically, pedagogically, the transition is hard to effect. Therefore, this whole book has been planned to show very precisely that algebra of logic and logistic of are all of a piece, and just how, why, and where they have diverged both in appearance and sense. The present work endeavors to be both a textbook of symbolic logic and essay on that logic. It is essential that student should learn both to do logic and to know precisely what is doing. Therefore, the exposition of method is interspersed throughout with discussion of principles and general report of procedure. The actual material presented should enable him at the end of a systematic course of study to tackle the monographic literature of symbolic logic and pursue it either in the direction of mathematics or of postulational theory or of logistic. Furthermore, it should be in some measure prepare students of philosophy to understand the epistemological problem which arise in contemporary philosophy of nature as presented by Poincaré, March, Reichbach, Carnap, Russell, Whitehead, and others. To this end, it emphasizes the principle of logical construction, the possibilities and limits of formalization, equivalent conception, fundamental types of formula, criteria of clarity, simplicity, generality, and above all, the difference between fecund and sterile notions. Oh, okay. In this connection, it seeks to show the bearing of logic on natural science and philosophy of nature. Although it is intended as the text for course in symbolic logic, usually a second course, so it presupposes no previous training. Though it presupposes no previous training. Yeah, I don't have any previous training. It would also serve as an introductory reading for a course in the philosophy of nature or a course of general philosophy of upperclassmen or for graduate students seeking a key to the important monographic literature of symbolic logic and logistic. It aims to take no technical knowledge of logic, science, or mathematics for granted, but to develop every idea from the level of common sense so that it may be comprehensible and useful also to the interested layman who desires a general discussion of the purpose, approach, technique, and results of symbolic logic. Okay, man. Uh, I think, yeah, as a complete beginner, I can read this book, I guess. I will drink some water and I will be back. Until then, enjoy this music.
The book lies open, the ink is dry. Why did we let this
Paranoid.
through?
I try to dance like wolves to mark the dusty plain. I painted my own skin to break the endless chain. Instead the circle grew, the despots watching. His voice kept asking, what do you signify? I am not paranoid. He wants me to obey his signs I can't resist. It's a power play. If I don't fit the lines his priests have neatly drawn, then I'm the scapegoat, soon cast out and gone. I had to cut the cord. I had to turn away. Betrayal is my act. I could no longer stay. No face in front of me. No mirror carved in stone. The burning bush a point, and I am all alone. It hooks into my flesh, an anchor for the race. I am the subject now. I've lost the despot's face. I am the one. My mission drives me fast, but I am smaller than the shadow that I cast. I'm running on a line, a pure and strict decree, but it begins to curl. It's turning into me, a passion born with a manic spin. The line becomes a tube, and I am falling in. I see betrayal was just a pose. The despot always knows. Voice, circle, line still in my head. Subject and signifier. The double knot is fed. It eats my very soul while I am screaming free. The modern face of power is staring back at me. But listen.
Ooh. Chapter 1. The study of forms. Importance of form. All knowledge, all science and arts have their beginning in the recognition that ordinary familiar things may take on different forms. Our earliest experience of nature brings this to our notice. We see water freezing into translucent block, or the snow which fell from heaven changing to water before our eyes. A little reflection makes aware of further changes. Where do snow and rain come from? From the vaporous masses we call clouds, the white mist that float in the air. And as the snow or rain descend, those clouds dissolve. They have turned to water or to white flakes. Where did the cloud come from? They are made by some process of transformation from the waters of the earth. Water, water. water, water, whatever, man, they are made by some process of transformation from the water of the earth. Different forms of the same thing may be so widely diverse in the opinion that it is hard to think of them as essentially the same substance. All science tries to reduce the diversity of things in the world to mere differences of appearance, and there is as many things as possible as variants of the same stuff. When Benjamin Franklin found out that lightning is some form of electricity, he made a scientific discovery which proved to be but a step in very great science, which proved to be but a step in eh? which proved to be a step in very great science. For amazing number of things can be reduced to this same fundamental something. This protein substance called electricity is exceedingly variable, readily assuming different shapes or forms. An amoeba is protein animalcule. Uh, okay, yes, I think the mm, term the term protein also comes from, I think, protein. Okay. Uh, in Greek mythology, in Greek mythology, Proteus is a early prophetic sea god or god of rivers and ocean of oceanic bodies of water. One of several deities whom Homer calls the Old Man of Sea. Some who ascribes a specific domain to Proteus call him the god of elusive sea change, which suggests a changeable nature or the liquid quality of water. He can foretell the future, but in a me theme familiar, my theme familiar to several culture, which change his shape to avoid doing so. He answer only to those who are capable of capturing him. From this feature of Proteus comes the adjective protein, meaning versatile, mutable, or capable of assuming many forms. Protein has a positive connotation of flexibility, versatility, versatility, and adaptability. Electricity is the one of the most essential things in the world that can take on a vast variety of forms. It widely mutable its wide mutability makes nature interesting, and its ultimate oneness makes science possible. But if we could not appreciate its different form as different forms of one thing, then we would have no way of relating them to each other at all. We would not know why sliding our feet over rug makes the brass door knob give up a spark at our touch. Yeah, okay. You know, yeah, I am understanding. Like, this didn't happen with me, like, sliding my feet over a rug, but the rug I sleep in, when I slide it like this, sometimes tiny electricity comes out, which is cool. Or why the lightning has a preference for metal, or why the lightning has a preference for metal crosses on church steeples, nor see any connection whatever between these two casual facts. We have two kinds of knowledge, which may be called respectively knowledge of things and knowledge about them. Okay? The former is the direct intimacy. Fuck man, like why the fuck I am pronouncing the words wrong? Yeah, I am little bit, sleepy and not, in my best mood or my stimmung. But I at least, wanna do something in this chapter. Like so far we have not learned what anything meaningful. Sure, it was the introduction and preface, but like I wanna learn something. We have two kinds of knowledge, which may be called respectively knowledge of things and knowledge about them. The former is that direct intimacy which our senses give us, the look and smell and feel of a thing, the sort of knowledge a baby has of its own bed, its mother's breast. No, its usual view of ceiling and window and wall. It knows this object just as it knows hanger or toothache. It has what Burton Russell has called knowledge of acquaintance, acquaintance of certain things, a most direct and sensuous knowledge. Yet the baby cannot to be snared to be know anything about beds, foods, or houses or touches. Toothaches. To know anything about an object is to know how it is related to its surroundings, how it is made up, how it functions, etc. In short, to know what sort of thing it is. To have knowledge about it, we must know more than the direct sensuous quality of the stuff. We must know that what particular shape the stuff is taking in the case of this thing. A child may know the taste and feeling of a scrambled egg without knowing that it is an egg which has been scrambled. In that case, he will not associate with boiled egg or omelette. He does not. Okay, what the fuck is scrambled egg? Hmm. Let's see. Let's see. Egg mixed with what? Milk? Is that even a thing? Egg that is milk mixed with milk is called scrambled egg. Okay. Like I never heard about it. And I have never eaten scrambled egg. But now I will give it a try. I will give it a try of making a scrambled egg and taste how it tastes. He will not associate with boiled egg or omelette. He does not know that are different forms of the same thing. Neither does know that it is in its raw, fresh, natural state. The egg is a pristine from of chicken, and by more distant relationship, an incipient of chicken dinner. The only way we can do business at all with rapidly changing, shifting, and surprising world is to discover the most general laws of its transformation. The very word transformation tells what we are dealing with. Changes of form. Okay. The growth of science is the most striking demonstration of the importance of form as distinguished from matter, substance, stuff, or whatever we call that, which remains the same when the form of a thing changes. Whenever we may truly claim to have science, we have found some principle by which different things are related to each other as just so many of one substrate or material. Everything that can be treated as a new variation belongs to that science. Logical form. Okay. Not all sciences deal with introduction to form, I guess. The importance of form. All sciences deal with material things. Philology, for instance. I think philology has, you know, what is called negative things nowadays. Negative perception nowadays. Not all science deals with material thing. Philology, for instance, deal with relation among words and also the production of a word in a speech or writing always has a material aspect involving a paradigm or movement of speech organ. This aspect is not what interests the philologist. When the word undergoes changes of form, as for instance, the word pater and piri and father and padre. Oh man, padre. This cannot be taken to mean that it changes its shape. As an egg changes shape when it is scrambled, the meaning of form is stretched beyond its common connotation of shape. Okay. Likewise, in the science or art of musical composition, we speak of rondo form, sonata form, hymn form, and no one thinks of material shape. Musical form is not material. I will be back in a moment.
A book smooth with speed. Movement itself becomes their creed. The vector field does not divide in smooth space, the nomads ride. But here's the trap, the state is wise. It binds the truth in ancient lies. It hunts the nomad in the zone to serve the despot on his throne. It twists the movement into guilt on which the prison walls are built. It turns self-loathing into hate, a weapon bent to guard the gate. The force of light becomes a sin, a war against the life within. So where's the outside you could trace? Not just in deserts, empty space. The smooth is not a place to flee. It's something you must learn to be. For there's a body stripped of code where no fixed organ sets the mode. Intensity's a rising tide, the outside opening inside. This machine shreds up the lore to feed emotion wild and raw. Not in the state, not in the mind, but on a field of different kind where organs lose their given role.
We are back. Likewise, this in the science or art of musical composition, we speak of rondo form, sonata form, hymn form, and no one thinks of material shape, musical form. This cannot be taken to mean that it changes. Oh man. It is orderliness, but not shape. So me must recognize a wider sense of a word than the geometric sense of physical shape. And indeed, we admit this wider sense in ordinary parlance. Uh, We speak of formality in social intercourse, of good form in athletics, of formalism in literature, music, or dancing. Certainly, we cannot refer to the shape of a dinner or poem or dance. In this wider sense, anything may be said to have form that follows a pattern of any sort, exhibits order, internal connection. Our many synonyms for form indicate how the wide the range of this notion really is. We speak of physical, grammatical, social forms, of psychological types, norms of conduct, of beauty, of intelligence, fashions in clothing, speech, behavior, new designs of automobiles or motorboats, architectural plans, or the plans for a festival, pattern, standard, mode, and so many other words signify essentially the same thing in specialized uses of subtle variation of meaning. But all of these words refer to form in that most general sense in which we are going to use it here. It is the most general sense which we always give to the word in logic. Okay, therefore shall I call it logical form to distinguish it from form in any more restricted sense, particularly its unusual connotation of physical shape. Three structure. Logical form is highly quote unquote. No. Wait. It is like quote logical form unquote is a highly general notion, and like all generalization, it covers a large number of particular ideas. Okay, but if these various particular ideas may all be called by one general name, they must have some general feature in common. But what is common to say the form of declensions and conjunctions in a language and the topography of continent? I didn't understand, man. Like conjunction, I can see conjunction means the word that brings together two sentences. Going to number, gender, and or declination. Huh? Both are forms in the logical sense. What bridge can be thrown across the gap between such widely diverse notions as the shape of the continent and the orderly sequence of wordings in the language? Question mark. Is there any justification for applying the same name to such different matters? Question mark. The bridge that connects all the various meanings of form, from geometric form to the form of ritual or etiquette. Etiquette. I think I am pronouncing it wrong. Is the notion of structure. The logical form of the a thing is the way that is thing constructed, the way it is put together. Anything that has a definite form is constructed in definite way. This does not mean, of course, that it has been deliberately put together by somebody. Of course, that it has been deliberately put together by somebody. Forms may be preconceived, or they may be natural or accidental. The famous old man of the mountain. Preconceived, natural, or accidental. The famous old man of the mountain in New Hemisphere is a accidental rock formation. Okay, we are gonna see it. Okay, it is not getting clearly seen here. You wanna see Old Man of the Mountain? Wait. This is the Old Man of the Mountain, but he doesn't look old or man, I guess. He doesn't appear man to me. Okay, in ways, yeah, obviously it does. Okay, it does come as a face, but it doesn't look old. In New Hemisphere is an accidental rock formation put together like a human profile. A piece just juts out just a little, as eyebrows do. New word, juts, to stick out. It's a verb, the jutting apart building, okay. As little as eyebrows do. Then there is a gap like the hollow of the eyes, a large projection, exactly as nose projects a straight piece, a fissure beneath it, as the mouth is beneath the lip. Another straight face ending in projection with great overhang that resembles the projection of a strong chin and jaw. The outline of the rock is made up like a human profile. The powers of nature, glacier, water, and frost have accidentally constructed the old man of the mountain out of granite. The cliff, which has nothing else in common with human flesh, yet resembles a man by its form. Nature is full of most elaborate constructs, from the crude structure of strata in a geological fault to the to the infinitesimal, 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 yeah, infinitesimal, infin infinitesimal. Okay, fuck it. I don't know why I'm unable to pronounce that. Infinitesimal, dynamic pattern of protons and electrons in an atom. One must not make the mistake of associating structure always with something put together out of parts that were previously separate. A snowflake is a detailed construct of a very large recognizable individual part, but these have not been put together. They crystallized out of one humongous drop of water. They were never separate, and there has been no process of combination. Yet the flake has a structure, in fact, an interesting structure, and is therefore called the natural construct. Now let's consider a form which is not geometric, i.e., which is not a shape, the form or instance of the ordinary musical scale in the so-called major mode. Do, re, mi, fa, so, do, re, mi, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, hi, do. These are 8 notes in the scale, counting the customary repetition of 2. But to have a major scale, we must have more than 8 notes. We must have them put together in this particular way. The major scale is constructed by letting this note follow each other in just this order. Supposing we put them together differently, as for instance, do, re, mi, do, me, re, fa, si, la, sol, do, hi. Oh, no, no, no. I have to say this in a higher pitch, I guess, not pronounce it. Okay, do, mi, re, fa, si, la, do. We have then constructed a perfectly singable melody, but it is not a major scale. It has the note, but not the form of the scale. We may group them yet differently and construct another tune. Sole, sol, mi, do, sole, mi, do, si, la, fa, fa, re, do. Here we have the same notes again, but the musical form is not the same. This is a skippy tune in waltz rhyme. The two melodies have every note in common. That is to say, exactly the same ingredients have gone into both. Where these ingredients, material things, we should say the two constructs were made of exactly of the same substance and differ only in the form. Yeah, okay, differed in sound, I guess, or what it. Logically, we may say this even the. Oh, fuck. Logically, we may say this even though the substance is immaterial, being a collection of individual sound. For order and arrangement among sound is just as much logical form as the arrangement of parts in a physical thing. If we compare these tunes with each other and with conventional major scale, we even see in this rudimentary and trivial trivial case how every diverse may the appearance, the character, the value of things which are merely different forms of the same given material. This fact should always be borne in mind. Often it is hard to believe that philosopher or scientist has any chance whatsoever of reducing widely different things to the same category because they look and feel so incommon measurable. So incommon measurable. But but he has found a principle by which he can describe them as the two forms of one substance. And we are amazed to see how precisely and usefully he then relates to them. Logic is full of such surprises. That is why it sharpens and broadens one's outlook, scientific or metaphysical, upon the whole world. Okay, man. Like, my brain is completely fried, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow and end the stream. Like, I wanted to do it longer, but like, my brain is has shut off now. So, obviously, I will increase the timing slowly, slowly. We were learning about the forms and structure and how even to things with same can be constructed as different, I guess. But still, I don't know what the fuck form means here. So I don't know. But we are going forward and we will see.